Everybody, welcome back to What Elon Said. Today is May 5th, 2022. Today we have commentary about Elon's attempts to understand the mainstream media hate for his Twitter purchase. We have revisiting the passive and active investment strategies, and we've got commentary about Tesla's exponential growth. So let's jump into it. The first up here, we have a revisiting of a tweet from, I think this was yesterday. Who funds these organizations that want to control your access to information? Let's investigate and shed some light on that. And then Elon followed it up with another link to an article at the Daily Mail saying, interesting. I wonder if those funding these organizations are fully aware of what the organizations are doing. And I've posted some snapshots of this letter that was communicated to Twitter, advocating. Well, no, it wasn't to Twitter. It was to major organizations that advertise and fund Twitter through their advertising. So we'll get into it a little bit. But thoughts, Mark? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see. It's definitely points of view. I don't know what the objective of that organization is really. I mean, I understand they don't want advertisers there, so they're afraid that fringe groups will be posting on Twitter and it'll be sway the public to do certain things. Totally understand that concern. On the other hand, the factors they'd rather keep Twitter as the status quo right now. They feel it's working well. And that's definitely a good point of view. I have no problem with them pushing people to do that. But it's good to hear both sides of the argument. I'm really not going to speak against them because I don't know the full details of what the end goal is of this organization. I just know the top level of what they're saying. And Elon's posting it. He's making people aware of it, which I think is a good thing for both sides of the argument. I personally think Elon will do very good things for Twitter personally, but in terms of eliminating the bots, which I think is a bigger issue than radical voices, because the bots feed the radical voices. But I'm not really for what they're saying, but I think it's worth hearing them out.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, look, here's the letter up on the screen here, and I wouldn't say that everything is bad here. It's a very well worded, clear request, basically. But I don't know that I'm fully on board with the approach that they're taking, which is basically calling on major corporations to cut off their funding because they're afraid that Twitter's going to fall into disarray and become a hate speech platform. And it says, while the company is hardly a poster child for healthy social media, it has taken welcome steps in recent years to mitigate systemic risks, which also ratchets up the pressure on other social media platforms, Facebook and YouTube, follow suit. And they're saying, they're drawing some conclusions here. Musk intends to steamroll those safeguards and provide a megaphone to extremists who traffic in disinformation, hate, and harassment. So I don't know. I mean, a lot of this is an opinionated thought on what is going to happen here. But I mean, some of the things that they're asking for, I don't know that I'm really opposed to it. Like keep accounts that are harassing, violent, and hateful conduct off the platform. They want algorithmic transparency as well as algorithmic accountability.
Yep.
That's pretty broad and open to being abused, I would say. And then continued Twitter's commitment to transparency and researcher access, which that doesn't go against anything that Elon's proposing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I guess they're concerned that it's going to be private. It's just a few people control it without public pressure from stockholders. Because most of these things are in line with what Elon said he's going to do. They're just afraid that could switch the other day. I think, as you're saying this of what they're doing, the boycotting, it occurred to me that the strategy here is similar to the way the world is trying to boycott and sanction Russia, and they're treating Elon as if he is Russia, an evil regime.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. Um, but I think it lacks some self-awareness, of understanding why it is that Elon has a problem with some of this. Like, I think it would be a better approach to just maybe like reach out to Elon directly or propose to him, hey, these are some of the things that Twitter and free speech absolutists, maybe platforms have struggled with in the past. And here are some of the negative outcomes of some of the things that you are, or at least our understanding of your proposal is, um,
Right.
as opposed to a more aggressive attack approach like this. I don't know.
Absolutely right. So
Yeah.
we'll see what the response is. I'm sure clarification will come over time. Elon has quite a voice. Before the call, you mentioned that Elon has 90 million followers now.
Yeah. Almost
So
91. Wow.
91. So that's quite a voice. And we'll see. I guess the way to take advantage of that voice is to have a group like this and get Elon to talk about it so their concerns are heard. I wouldn't have really heard about this if he didn't tweet it.
Yeah. And I would be willing to guess that he's not directly opposed to all of these NGOs that are listed here. And it's even listed
Absolutely.
that some of these organizations are well funded by some European governments. I think it was Denmark, Germany, Norway were listed, and he's
Yeah.
not opposed to those countries. So,
No. No.
yeah, I think it's complicated, and I do think I've said this from the beginning that I think it's less simple than what he's made it sound, or maybe what he thinks it'll be. Although I'm sure he's aware of the complications of what he's trying to do. But I think he just didn't like the direction that Twitter was going and felt that it was snowballing out of control and would ultimately lead to negative impacts for democracy. So
Yes.
I think it'll be a
I've heard.
long road. It'll be interesting to document from day to day.
Yes, I heard someone say yesterday that this might be Elon's Vietnam.
Oh gosh, I had that same. I had a thought recently where like Trump used that ridiculous line that like dating in the '80s was his Vietnam or some ridiculous thing like that, or avoiding STDs was his Vietnam.
Oh boy.
Anyway, I just thought, yeah, we don't need to go down that road. But yeah, I don't know. But I the article is interesting. The Daily Mail article is interesting. It highlights who's running these organizations, who's funding them, because that was Elon's point of posting the article, which was, I wonder if people who are contributing to these organizations know that these are some of the efforts that they're taking, and
Yes.
they obviously don't align with what he's trying to do. So
No. No.
yeah,
Interesting.
we'll keep up with that, but
We'll keep up.
yeah. So moving on, you're more of the active investor, Mark. So I'll let you dive into this one. Did
Yes,
you read this one at all?
I
What'd you
did. I
think?
thought it was interesting that Kathy Wood was posting that passive funds have not they've not capitalized on gains over the long run. She's saying that many investors have enjoyed a 400-fold appreciation of Tesla from a $1.6 billion market cap at the IPO. Then the Kathy says, in my view, history will deem the accelerated shift toward passive funds during the last 20 years as a massive misallocation of capital. So she feels that it will just be like a tanker that is going to go off the cliff and no control, really. And the
Mhm.
active funds are the ones that will come out in the end as choosing smart companies. She feels that active funds is the best way. That's been her mantra the whole time. She's one of the few active ETFs. Elon responded with a sort of a mixed response, I thought, that saying passive index investments is simply an amplifier of active investments. If active investments signal degrades in quality, passive is proportionally impacted. Also, if there are very few actual active investors, their decisions can greatly increase company valuation volatility.
Hmm.
So I think he's agreeing with Kathy that active investment is better in the end in choosing companies, but
Yeah.
it's not disassociated. That active drives
Yeah.
passive. He's saying. So he sort
Yeah.
of disagrees with her, but he
Well, it links back to extensive conversation over the weekend that he was mainly engaging with Mark Andreessen about this topic,
mhm.
but then she linked to one of those tweets from Elon over the weekend where he was referencing Jack Bogle of Vanguard. Bogle. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, but basically that passive index investing has just grown to this level of uh, like out of control. You know, you need
Yeah,
to bring the investor power back to the individual investors. And I think he's also he's complaining about, I don't know if complaining, but he's alerting people of the consolidation of power because
yeah,
of passive investing, but also arguing while also arguing for active investing.
yeah. He's and I think here he's saying that active investing drives passive in the end because they're more powerful. So it was
Well,
mixed.
I
I
think he's
felt.
saying that the active investment signal. Okay, so your vote basically degrades because you're giving that voting power to, whoever's running the passive fund, the fund
Yes,
managers. So the signal to noise ratio goes down because um, yeah, your signal's kind of muted.
that's right. That's
But I
right.
also think that this is twofold, and that he's also agreeing with Kathy that there's opportunities out there that are being missed with just passive investing.
Definitely, especially now. I mean, I feel like the market in the last year has switched to an active market. And I think Elon, Kathy was saying this, that passive, you could have just thrown money at it and you had a
Yeah,
400% increase. But now you really need to pick and choose what's going to grow in the long term.
yeah. I mean, I
We'll
think there's
see.
just since 2020, essentially, there's been far more, we'll call it democratization of investing for the retail investor, as well as more opportunity to research companies and free transactions now on most platforms.
Yeah, the free transactions definitely has been, I mean, the boom time, also the free transactions have driven and COVID have driven the boom that just happened. The scary part is that because of free transactions, as soon as any little bad news happens, who knows what that will be? Everyone can just literally pull their phone out and push the sell button
Yeah.
without any thoughts because there's no fee, tax consequences, but there's no fee. So I think there's personally real risk of a major crash because of that
Almost
instant
like
reaction of the
treating
market.
stocks like it's cryptocurrency or something now.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
So, and that
Flash
could really
crash in the
screw up
markets. Wow.
the last crash. Everyone dumps their passive indexes at the same time, which could happen.
Well, now
Not,
now folks get any sort of clarity from the Fed, and it just woo party time, like we saw yesterday afternoon in the
yeah,
markets, which
yes,
I
but
thought
today
was
it's
very
already,
bizarre because I'm like, wait, they're increasing rates. They said they have no idea if they're gonna have to get more aggressive with it. Anything could change, and he said the same exact thing last year when he said, "Well, we won't get real aggressive with it," and now they're
yeah,
changing their tune. The tune changes
yeah,
from day to day, so
day
I
to
don't
day.
understand why everyone was partying yesterday. Anyway,
They
that's just
part, well, I think they were because he said he wasn't going to do the 75% rate increase later this
yeah,
year.
but he also said
Uh,
they wouldn't do a 50% or
I know.
50 point increase a year ago,
Yeah.
and here we are.
Here we are.
Whatever.
But it is back down again today. I think it's a bear market reactions that are instead, bull market, everyone buys the dip, bear market, everyone sells the rise.
Yeah.
So it's already back down. Everyone's like it went up yesterday and now everyone's selling out again.
Hmm. I mean, think you and I have talked about this before that you got to detach stocks from the companies that they
Oh
represent.
yeah.
The market's not truly reflective of fundamentals of businesses. I think someone like Kathy and her approach will probably win out in the end in the long term. She says 5 years, but she also says, it could be longer than that. I think so.
That's right.
Um, yeah, just making the point here that she thinks that people will look back in time and be like, "Well, we were messed up back then. Like, we should have been
Probably.
focused on
But
these innovative companies."
hopefully.
Yeah. Speaking of innovative companies, this is Tim Urban saying, "When people get mad when a new technology is just accessible to the rich, they're missing the big picture." And here we have yearly stats going back to 2012 of the estimated smartphone users, and it's started at 1.1 billion, now at 6.6 billion, almost like, well, the vast majority of the entire world has a smartphone
Yes.
now.
Yeah. It is amazing that people get jealous when there's new technology because it's expensive and the rich
Yeah,
people have it. But I think he's showing here that the price really collapses. And this is just from 2012.
yeah,
It's go back to the 1995 for cell phone technology. No one, that was really expensive back then. If you had a
hmm
cell phone in 95, that was crazy. And now everyone has a smartphone.
yeah. I
So
think it
it's
also goes back to the value add to society because there's been new technologies that people want, whatever, covet, but it's it's the technologies that really add value to our day-to-day life and make our lives better and more fun and exciting, that are going to win out. And
like a
um,
Tesla. Like a
that's
Tesla
right.
is viewed as something that only the rich can afford right now
Yeah,
at the moment. 10 years from now, probably be a very different situation.
I think so. I think so. Here we have Ava Fox of Shadow Crew. Tesla Model S and X pass homologation in the Asia Pacific region and now are on display in Taiwan. So there you go. Um, The
I have no idea
technology
what
is
homologation
expanding
is.
and becoming accessible to more people. What's
Do
that?
you know what homologation? What is
Uh,
homologation?
yeah, granting of approval from official authorities.
Okay, very good, impressive. Word of the day.
I looked that up.
So were they not available in those countries before?
Um, I don't know. There's probably some areas. Maybe it was Taiwan that they were not
Yeah,
available.
interesting.
That's what it specifically mentions here. Um,
So it's coming there. Oh, just noting back one other thought for the have the stats for cell phone
mhm.
availability. So there's a saying that we're no longer in a have and have not world, which I think he's saying the saying is we're in a have and have later, have now and have later world,
Yeah,
where the rich do get it first, but everyone else gets it eventually.
yeah,
It's not one or the other. It's just earlier or a little later.
yep. We'll get there.
Yeah.
And here's just some more fandom for Zach's
Nice.
Model S. Nice shot there. Elon liked this. He also liked SpaceX retweet of Dragon separation confirmed, and Dragon will return to the Earth's atmosphere and splash down in about 23.5 hours. So exciting
Amazing.
news there.
I
Yeah.
have heard nothing about this except for Elon tweeting it. Like it's just not even covered.
No, I know. It's not at all. It's all about Twitter acquisition, but
It's crazy.
yeah, there's really exciting stuff happening in the background, and I'd argue for Tesla too. Like Tesla share value is going up, going down, waffling in there in like the 800, 900 range. Meanwhile, they're making all these subtle announcements that's like, hey, we're going to be growing like seriously exponentially. So
I
watch
know.
out.
Can't produce enough.
Yeah.
Huge
Um,
margins. Yeah.
yeah. And then we also have this, which is SpaceX expanding their solar farm at Starbase, adding the photovoltaic panels and Tesla power packs, expanding their like solar farm by 30% to help.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah,
Cool stuff.
that's so awesome. I mean,
Getting
you're
greener
running a like rocket farm with a solar farm.
with light.
Yeah. All right, we got to move through the
Ah,
rest of these because I gotta
all
go
right.
make a pickup here. So
Yeah. So we have let's say today was a short day, not a lot of crazy news, which is good. So we'll keep it tight. Here's just Dave Chappelle. It's good to see Elon out there. He's with P Diddy or just Diddy right now, hanging out, enjoying the
Yeah.
show. He makes his rounds, which is good for
Yep.
him.
At the
Guy's got to
Hollywood Bowl,
relax.
which had
Hollywood
headlines of
Bowl.
its own. I don't know if you saw any of
Yes,
those.
it did.
Crazy.
But it's good he's getting out there. And here's I didn't see this one. So the reason why
Yeah.
so many people are happy on Earth right now. Oh, Elon, yes. And then he's saying that if Elon is the reason so many people are happy right now, and Elon said if that is true, it would make me very happy. The love going back and forth.
Yeah. I mean, it's great recognition of someone just saying positive words. Although I think it
Yes.
also probably feeds the haters and the skeptics saying, "Look, he's just a self like obsessed billionaire," you know.
Yeah, of course.
Here, just a funny picture. We got Shibatoshi Nakamoto saying, "Keep Twitter fun." And he
Oh
liked
yeah.
that, and that's it. Yeah, so we'll end it on that positive note with some fun dogs
Good
there having
good
fun.
day. Good day.
Yeah, so that's it for today. Hope everyone enjoyed the show. If you did, give us a like and consider subscribing, and we'll be back tomorrow.
See you then.
Have a great one. Happy Cinco de Mayo.